Hi, everybody. Welcome home with Melissa, where we have intimate conversations with entrepreneurs. And our very first episode is the amazing Stephanie Osborne, who is a mindfulness coach and who I think is just an absolutely amazing human.
Thank you.
So, we're just going to start the interview off. I'm excited to be speaking with you. We have done mindfulness classes together. And since I've met you, I always felt like your spirit was very, very familiar. I've always felt calm when I was around you, and we've done classes before, and we need to do more. It's been a while. So, I just started off with a little bit of a rapid fire round. How about that? All right, coffee or tea?
Tea.
If you could do dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
Probably my grandmother.
What's one thing people would be surprised to know about you?
Belly dance.
Okay. What's your guilty pleasure TV or snack maybe?
Oh, my guilty snack is a donut. Okay.
Like that.
Yeah.
Okay. If you could live anywhere in the world for a year, where would it be?
Hawaii or Saint Tropez in France. Yeah.
Nice. So I'm gonna let you have the floor and tell everybody a little bit about you.
Okay, I'm Steph Ozborne. I own Meditate New Orleans, and I'm a corporate mindfulness coach. So I go into the workplace and I offer mindfulness workshops and retreats for leadership teams. Also have community meditations here in New Orleans,
which I've actually participated in, and your protective meditation was like life-changing for me. So thank you. So I'm going to get into the interview. So what limiting beliefs did you struggle with when you started your journey, and how did you overcome them?
Sure, thank you for asking. Probably my biggest limiting belief was that I could not get ahead without having connections or resources. And my husband actually showed me that wasn't the case. You know, he was like, we can do anything. And so I was like, how? He was like, I don't know. And so I thought I have to come up with those reasons how, those ways how. And so I did. And so, I just started finding things and just also manifesting. So are you into manifesting?
Oh,
yeah. I mean, apparently, right?
Yeah.
So but that's what I do, and that's how I get what I want. Manifesting and meditating on it, and then the secret, the law of attraction. So deciding what I want, writing it out, asking the universe for it by taking action, doing the things I want, and then receiving it by saying thank you, being open, answering the calls, responding to the emails, showing up.
So if you don't know, Stephanie's husband is the amazing Terrence Osborne, a well-known New Orleans and national artist who does jazz fest. I mean, he's done some phenomenal New Orleans art.
Yeah.
But she has created her own identity.
Yes, I have.
You really have. You really
you.
have. And when you talk about meditation and manifesting, that's something that I've done like in my business, you know. I definitely see what I want to have, and I envision myself having it. And I think it, like when I look back, because I always write things down, and when I look back, I'm like, wow, this is what I wrote this down 5 years ago. And now I see it now.
Yeah.
So I am envisioning and manifesting what I want 5 years from now.
Good for you.
So, yeah. So
can't
it's
wait
huge.
to see it happen for you.
So how important do you think mindset is when it comes to achieving success as an entrepreneur?
Mindset it's everything. So because my husband is a visual artist, I've always supported his career. Right before Hurricane Katrina, so that was like in 2005. So I think in 2004, we had a moment where we didn't have any money, and it was such an important moment for us because we were giving our kids, I always tell the story, but we were giving our kids ramen noodle. We were out of ramen, so we were giving them Cheerios, and we didn't have any more milk. So my husband was like, I gotta call my dad and see like if he could make us some food or something. He was like, do not call your dad. And so he was like, we're gonna put water in the cereal, and I was like, I gotta call my dad. So I called my dad, and my dad was like, yeah, y'all come on over, I'm gonna make y'all some red beans and rice and fried chicken. And Terrence is my husband. Terrence was like, I'm not going over there because as a man,
Right.
he wanted to provide for his family, and he didn't want to be at my dad's house while my dad's taking care of my husband's family, you know, in his mind. And so my dad was like, if you can't come over when you're struggling, don't come over when you're doing well. So he went over there, we ate the food, we brought some food home, but he was really sad. And I said, this was in 2004, I was like, I'm going to make $100,000 this year. So we had a negative account balance, and I was like, I'm gonna make $100,000 this year so that my husband never feels like that again. And I just started doing the work. So I started changing my mindset, like writing a list of what I wanted, visualizing it, taking action, sending out proposals, and I wound up sending something to the Hilton Riverside on Convention Center Boulevard. And the general manager was like, no, we're not interested. And I said, well, let me speak to your boss. And he connected me to his boss, who was the higher up general manager. And Terrence got the gig. And so it started a real wonderful partnership with us. And it came out of struggle. But from that, we shifted our mindsets, and that's why we are where we are now.
Wow. It's amazing how God aligns conversations, because Rashawn is behind the camera, but we were just having a conversation about how, as an entrepreneur, the struggle, right? It's not always easy. It's not always glitz and glamour. But when you talk to other entrepreneurs who are successful, and you realize that this is part of the process, and I learned so much in that struggle. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for having me here.
No, a pleasure. Can you share a defining moment when you realized a mindset shift was necessary to get to the next level?
Yes. A couple of them happened mostly with my daughter. So I've always had this partnership with my husband as the artist. And I'm the business end, so I'm behind the scenes, and so I'm always on the computer. And so my daughter had a homework assignment to write out what her parents did, and so she did this big paragraph on my husband. He's a famous artist, and then my mom plans vacations. And so I was doing so much more. So when she started getting older, I realized I was 39 and she was about 16. And she was thinking that I wasn't working. She wasn't seeing what I was doing, and I was thinking, I don't want her to grow up and think that, and not see a woman stand in her power as an individual entrepreneur. So of course my husband is my partner. Even in Meditate New Orleans, I'm his partner with Terrence Osborne Gallery. But I did need to do something to so that she could see me doing something, like following my passion. And so I told my husband, I was like, I want to do something, but I don't know what to do. And he was like, what could you do if money wasn't a factor? And so, because the money follows the joy, right? So he was like, what would you do if money wasn't a factor? And I was like, I would meditate. I would guide meditation. I would teach meditation. I would meditate all day. And he was like, do that. So I was like, okay. So, I mean, I had already been meditating and studying meditation and guiding meditation within my family and friend group. So I went to Deepak Chopra's center in San Diego, and I studied under him, and then I got a mindfulness certification and a yoga certification. So that's what I do.
So tell us a little bit about your daughter, because I've been following.
Yes, thank you. My daughter is Indies Blue. She's a independent musician in New Orleans. She sang at Jazz Fest. She sang background for Usher. She is like a fairy. She is so magical to me, and stands in her power as much as she can. And she's one of the reasons, my kids in general, all my kids are the reasons for my shifts. It's like you always want to be a better mother, a better spouse, a better individual. And but her as a daughter, and I'm her example, so I'm always trying to shift for her. But she's just magical, and she writes about her experiences and her love life, and yeah, I think she's going places.
Oh yeah, I think so. I definitely think so. What daily habits or practices help you maintain a positive and growth-focused mindset?
Thank you. So I have this big chart. It's called the big ASS chart.
Okay.
Right? And it's the calendar for the entire year on the wall. And I have a key at the top that like marks off all the things that I can do in a day to move towards progress and self-love. And so some of the things on the list are meditating, walking, getting 6 to 8 hours of sleep, drinking water, taking my vitamins, you know. Did I say meditating? Oh, gratitude, doing the work by Byron Katie. So, you know, at the end of the day, every single night, I check off the things. And if I've done 5 or more, then I'm like, oh, you know, I had a really successful day. And if I did about 2 or 3, then I'm like, whoa, like what happened today? And I know that maybe I'm feeling a certain way now because I didn't do those things. So maybe catch up on my sleep, you know, start my day with meditation instead of taking the meeting first or something like that.
And you mentioned
Byron Katie.
Okay, was that a person that you follow?
Byron Katie, I've gone to a couple of her retreats. She does the work, and it's such a powerful exercise. It's called The Work by Byron Katie, and what happens is you make a statement like, well, her statement is, for her example, is always, my husband lied, right? So she caught her husband smoking cigarettes, and she said, my husband lied. And then the first question is it true, right? Is it true that he lied? Yeah. Okay, because he said he wasn't smoking. Okay, the second question is, can you know for sure it's true? Yes. Okay. How do I act when I believe the thought he lied? Well, I'm mean to him, I'm stressed, I start replaying it over, I keep asking him about it, you know, who would you be without the thought? Well, I would be relaxed, I wouldn't be angry with him, you know, and then you turn it around. He lied, I lied. Well, I lied when blah, 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 or he did not lie, you know. So it's a really great way to just investigate your thoughts and shift your energy so that you're seeing things from a broader perspective instead of being laser focused on one idea.
Okay, I love that. I love that. So I have a memory where you did a protective meditation. And I went to this protective meditation, and I literally, as we were meditating, you told us to close our eyes, and tears were just rolling. Yeah, and I was just like, this lady is amazing. So if you ever get a chance to do a meditation, or even if you do it at home, I mean, it's really life-changing. You realize, you know, when you really focus on your thoughts, you realize that there are so many built up things inside of us that need to come out. Yeah. And when we focus on it, I know at one point you were saying, focus on the tree or focus on it. And when you focus on that, you realize that there's so many things I need to release, that there's so many thoughts that are inside of me, and just being mindful of those thoughts. So just powerful. Being
a noticer, an observer of the thoughts, and not attaching to them, but not grasping or rejecting, right? Just being with, and the more you meditate, the more you notice your thoughts. So most of the time we're not even aware of our thoughts. So they're going around like, all of a sudden you feel irritable and you're not sure why, because you're not focusing on your thoughts. You're trying to move from thought to thought to thought, you know. So the more you meditate, the more those thoughts slow down, and you're like, oh, I'm thinking this, and this is how it makes me feel.
Powerful. So what advice would you give to someone who feels stuck in self-doubt or fear right now? I think a lot of entrepreneurs, Rashawn and I were talking, this has not been the easiest year in real estate, and I think overall, you know, entrepreneurs have been hit pretty hard. So what would you say to someone that's struggling with self-doubt, they're struggling with fear, maybe financial struggles? What would you suggest?
Well, with financial struggles, I would suggest you apply for a grant. Or, you know, have you thought of that recently?
We were just talking about it.
And also, I would suggest that you look to the people that are the most successful. I love a good mentor or a great teacher. You know, I'm not above being taught. So I love people that are doing better than me. So there are some people that when someone's doing better than them, they feel intimidated.
Yeah.
When someone's doing better than me, I move towards them like, ooh, can you show me? Because we're always happy to show other people how we're doing it, you know, because there's no competition. There's no competition. There's more than enough for everybody.
Yes. There's more than, and we are so different, right? So the way I may do something or someone else may do something is so different.
Absolutely.
So,
one time I went to, I was hosting a retreat, and there was another meditation guide who ended up doing the exact same retreat with the same title and everything a week before at the same location. I was like so worried. And so I was going to my massage therapist, and she said, we like to see it like this. I love to give you a massage, but if someone else, you know, everybody's bodies are different, everyone's fingers are different. If someone else can give you a better massage, please go to that person. This table will always be available, but everybody doesn't like the same massage.
Absolutely.
So, you know, and it really shifted my idea of like competition with people within my own field. Like, I mean, I have my own scent. You know, you have your own scent. We all do. So, however somebody enjoys it, they will gravitate towards it. If not, then they'll move towards another scent. You know?
And I send love. Like, whenever I see someone in my industry or maybe a fellow entrepreneur doing well, I send love. Because I say, if they have it, surely I can have it.
Absolutely. There's more than enough.
There's more than, and you may connect with someone that I may not connect with.
That's
okay. That's okay. But you gravitate to people who are of you.
That's
and
right.
It's okay. It's truly okay. So let me ask you, what self-care methods do you do usually on a daily basis?
Okay, so I meditate every day for 31 minutes. I do the work with a partner. I either facilitate them, like ask them the question. And I can do that for you at some point, you know, off camera if you're ever interested. And so we do the work, I meditate, I try to walk or go to yoga. I do one body thing every day. So it's either walking, yoga, exercise, or a massage. You know, so even if I get a massage, it's not exercising, but it's like still taking care of my body.
And it gets all those toxins out.
That's right.
So I do think it's still exercise. Definitely. All right, so give us a motivational quote or a mantra that you live by that you can give with us today.
Be here. Here. So we're often thinking about what will happen in the future or replaying things that happened in the past. And being here is like everything, like in this moment is fine. Most of the time, not all the time, but in this moment, everything is fine. But when you're constantly focusing on what will happen in the future or replaying things that happened in the past, you can't be happy. You know, you're anxious or hurt. You know, so be here. It feels good.
Feels wonderful. I was having a conversation yesterday at a little Christmas party, and the lady I was speaking with, she said, I really take the time to enjoy my family. And I said, even it was so simple, but it was so powerful, because sometimes we're with family or friends and we're thinking about what we need to do, what we have to do, what happened that day. But being present is a gift. It's really a gift. And being here, because I don't know what tomorrow holds or the next moment holds. So being in this moment and really enjoying this moment is a gift. And so I try to tell myself every day, I have enough. I have enough, because I have enough for today, maybe not tomorrow, but I have enough for today. And I remind myself I'm grateful that I have enough for today.
Gratitude is the thing. What are you grateful for? Not to turn it around on you, but what are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for my mother, that she is a strong pillar. I texted her a couple of days ago and I said, I'm so proud of you. I've seen her walk different hard places, from losing a child to losing my father, and I watched her walk with grace. So I said, I'm so proud of you. You just walk. You just walk.
That's so sweet.
So I'm grateful for her, because she is where I get the servitude from. She's where I get the humbleness from. Because I watch her walk in it all the time. And I'm grateful for my 2 daughters. I have 2 amazing daughters that are my next generation. So I'm very grateful for that.
They're
Girl,
beautiful. Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah.
I could go on and on and on. I'm grateful for today. I'm grateful for you.
Thank you.
That you came here. You said yes. Because you're a person I admire a lot.
Thank you.
I'm grateful for the people in my life. Girl, I could go on.
Okay. Maybe
Yes.
write a journal, a gratitude journal. Yeah.
Definitely. We're going to talk about manifesting a little bit.
Okay.
All right. So what's one big goal or dream you're manifesting right now? If you want to share.
Sure. Let me think. Well, okay. So 3,
Okay.
4.
Okay.
4 things. One thing is I want to get my husband in Sotheby's auction house.
Yes.
Yeah, we saw something happen at Art Basel that attracted us. Art Basel is this big art event, and so I want my husband in Sotheby's. I am trying to manifest my line. I'm creating a fashion line and I want it at New Orleans Fashion Week in 2025.
Okay, we'll look at.
Thank you. I'm manifesting. So I have corporate clients, and I would like more corporate clients in 2025 for retreats.
Okay,
that's my niche. And my daughter, I would like for her to partner with, like open for either Erykah Badu or Summer Walker or Moses.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those are my goals. So when you see it happening, you're like, wow, Stephanie's an amazing manifester.
Okay,
Yeah.
we will be looking.
Yeah.
And one last question, because I don't want to keep you forever. Why do these goals matter to you, and what steps are you taking to get there?
Thank you for asking. Yeah, I have an accountability coach, and she's helping me. But they matter because my husband's an artist. I love to help him multiply whatever he makes, and I love to see him enjoy his life. And we were just talking about that before I left. He is so fortunate that he gets to come up with an idea, and he can be like a kid, like, oh, I should do this, and he gets excited about it, and then he paints it, and then people are like validating it because he paints this thing that's absolutely beautiful, and then people are loving it, and it's like that's that instant confirmation and validation of like what he's doing is valuable to people. So I love to see that for him.
Yeah.
He is the light. He is so much light. So I enjoy that. And mindfulness, I mean, I prefer to offer my retreats, mindfulness retreats, instead of just workshops. So I am doing workshops, but I want to continue doing mindfulness retreats. So I want to have more of it. That's why I'm working towards it. The fashion line, I was given a gift. My biological grandmother left me some money, and I asked my husband, I was going to give it to my sister. I was like thinking, what should I do with this money? And my husband was like, do whatever you want. Like, whatever you've been thinking, I should try this, do that. And if it doesn't work out, it's like, whatever. And if it does work, then I've done something that I've enjoyed and created something amazing. So I started this fashion line, and so I would love to just see it come to life and see what happens. It's called Moo Moo Goddess. So my grandmother that I mentioned earlier is Moo Moo. So, and I see myself as a goddess, the grounded, flowing, breathing goddess. So Moo Moo Goddess is the line. And my girl Sid, Indies Blue. So Indies is Sydney backwards.
Okay.
Yeah, SYDNI-INDYS. So I would love to just see her perform. I mean, that's what she wants. So I feel like my goal is always to help my kids get what they want. So that's what she wants to open for these big people, and I think that she would love it, and she has a voice, so I want to see it happen.
Okay, we all do.
Yeah,
we all do.
Thank you.
So where can we find you? Like your venues, your events? I would love to hear more about your retreats.
Thank you.
Where can we find that?
Yeah, you can go to meditateneworleans.com, or you could follow me on Instagram at Stephanie. What is it? Steph Ozzy, STEPHOZZY, or Grounded Flowing Breathing Goddess.
Let's talk to you more about that goddess thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just real quick touch on a couple things real quick. So I feel like my grandmother and my ancestors pray for me, right? I feel like I'm still standing on those prayers and their blessings and their struggle. How do you feel about our ancestors? Do you feel like they guide us or that they?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I have seen so many miracles, and I know that my dad has passed. My dad is, I believe my dad is always opening doors for me, and that's how I stay connected. And I've seen, my son and I have had an experience one time where he was in Colombia. My son is a vegan chef, my middle kid, and he went to go chef for someone in Colombia, and he wanted to come back, and he hadn't passed the COVID test, and we were just, he was like, I made a fake results test and hoping that he could get through it.
Right.
And so the guy, he was in line. It was supposed to take 24 hours. He was in line. He still didn't get it on his phone, but he had the fake one. The man comes up and checks it, and he's like, so he goes and talks to the lady up front, you know, to like say, flag him, like, this isn't right. And Seth is on the phone with me, and he's like, I'm like asking my dad, you know, who has passed. I'm like, Dad, Hook, please take care of him, make it go through or whatever. And he gets up to the desk, and at the moment he gets up to the desk, it changes.
Wow.
And he gets to come home, and he was like, Mom, I know that was Papa. And I believe that my grandmother, my father, all of our ancestors are always around us. Our angels, ancestors, spirit guides are always around us, protecting us. And even when my kids and my husband leave, it's like I imagine this light protecting them and just kind of following them. And whenever I need anything, I just say, Dad, please hook us up, you know. So
I got chills as you were saying that. But my brother passed away when I was 8 years old, and I feel like everything about me he's been guiding me. My grandmother, before she passed, she said, "You're blessed," and that just rings in my head, you know. And I'm like, "Why did she think I was blessed?" I mean, she had a million grandchildren, and she told me I was blessed. So I think that she's a guiding light, and I think our ancestors pray for us. They pray for us, and we're living on those prayers. I really do.
I love that.
Any closing remarks?
No, thank you for having me.
Thank you for
this
coming.
was fun.
Your energy is so amazing.
Thank you.
Yes, awesome. So I definitely want to do more meditations. I need to get back into it because I've been busy and I haven't made it a priority, but I think it's what grounds me, right? Because I think I'm connected to that. Like that. Well,
you also walk in the morning, and that can be a meditation, depending on the music that you're listening to, or if you're, or if you're not listening to any music. My husband meditates by painting, so it doesn't have to be seated with no movement. But definitely sitting down doing nothing is definitely going to allow thoughts to surface that you're sitting with, and that's what happened in your meditation, that we're always kind of doing. When you stop doing, it's like, that's when it's like, now I have to be with what is.
So that is basically, if you would define mindfulness, you would define it as being?
Mindfulness is the awareness that arises when you pay attention to the present moment on purpose and without judgment. So becoming an observer of what is. Just watching, no judgment. The way you might watch a kid play
Mm-hmm.
You're not really judging them. You're just like, oh, this, or a frog jump.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like because maybe you care about the kids, so you
Right.
might have some thoughts, but just being an observer of what is, that's freedom,
Mm-hmm.
because we're not attaching to anything or pushing anything away. It's just being,
Just being.
that's free.
Being. Wow. I think as an entrepreneur, you definitely need to be mindful. You need to be aware of what's happening and be more present. I think sometimes we get so caught up in the moment, right?
Yeah.
And we get caught up in doing, and we're not living. So one of my goals for 2025 is to be more mindful, to stop and be more aware of what's happening in my moment, because before you know it, the whole year has passed. And we need to be aware of what's going on with our family, our friends, what we care about. So let's make effort in 2025 to be more aware and definitely follow this amazing woman. Well, I'm very grateful that she sat down with us for a few minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining me for episode 1, which was phenomenal. And stay tuned because we will have episode 2 coming very, very soon. Thank you.